Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. So we got an update on the Vasil Hardfork last night. So it was originally targeted for June 29th, but we hadn't got the public testnet Hardfork yet, which was raising some questions whether it would go ahead. And now there's a new plan. The testnet is going to hardfork the end of June. 4 weeks later, we're going to get the mainnet hardfork then. So I'll go through the details in this one, what was put out, and give you my opinions on it as well. Also, getting questions on what happened over on Solana with Solend, one of the dApps building over there, putting out a vote to decide whether they should take over a whale's account. So questions around custody of your funds, are they safe? Should a dApp be able to do this? Can this happen on Cardano? I'll go through that in this one. Also, I'm heading away at the end of this week with my family. The first, I suppose, proper holiday in 3 years after what's gone on the last 2 years. Looking forward to that. Just means that I'm not sure what content will be put out on the channel here over the next 2 weeks. I'll be a bit quieter on social media as well, but still checking in. There'll just be a delay on replies over there as well. So give the video a share if you think others can benefit. Like, comment below. I do appreciate it. Let's jump into it. Okay, so here's the Vasil upgrade, the state of play. This is what was put out by IOG last night. And in summary, what's happening is the end of June, we're going to get the hard fork on the testnet. And then 4 weeks later, we're going to get the hard fork on the mainnet. So the reason for that is, first off, we hadn't got the public testnet hard forked yet. There was a private testnet, but when we hadn't got the public one, there was a lot of questions on, is this going to go ahead? At this stage, lots of people were hoping it wouldn't actually go ahead the end of June because there wouldn't be enough time for testing or to allow people to upgrade their nodes, exchanges as well. So it's a better situation now to be in rather than trying to rush it out for the end of June. So the public testnet will hard fork the end of June. There'll then be a 4-week period for testing and also for SPOs and exchanges to upgrade their nodes, make sure everything is ready for the hard fork in the last week of July. If we go through the update here, you can see they've managed to get through the majority, approximately 95% of their Plutus V2 test scripts. So their own internal testing is basically on target, but you really do need that public testing as well, because the public will start to do things with it that you mightn't have thought of, or they do things in different ways than you do internally. So you can see here, since the start of June, they have been running an early bird or an early build of the new node, which includes diffusion pipelining and the new Plutus V2 SIPs, which are the ones we're really looking forward to because they allow a lot more dApps to launch on top of Cardano. Going on down then, again, I'll put the link to this one below for anyone who wants to check it out. Today, IOG and Cardano Foundation agreed a new target date for the testnet at the end of June. Allow 4 weeks for exchanges and SPOs to carry out any required integration and testing, and then the mainnet hard fork occurring the last week of July. So that's the latest we have there. So all going well, as long as no major bugs are found on the public testnet, we should have the hard fork the last week of July. When I get an actual date, specific date on that, I will let you know. It will happen on the turn of an epoch because you have to submit the changes, and then 5 days later it does happen. So you should be able to pick out the dates if you look at where the epochs begin and end over the end of July. I'll do that after this video as well. So what happened over on Solana this week? Well, there's a big response to this. Some people saying it's being completely blown out of proportion. Others saying that this is the worst thing that has happened in this cycle. And that's a fairly big statement considering everything we've seen over the last few weeks with VCs and Celsius and Luna and all that. So they say they are an algorithmic decentralized protocol that is questionable. I'll let you guys decide, for lending and borrowing on Solana with over $1 billion in deposits. So people have heard me say here, if you watch the channel a few times now, probably a good few times, that money markets, which is lending and borrowing, is something I'm really looking forward to coming to Cardano because that opens up a lot of new possibilities. So this is an equivalent over on Solana, and people are worried, can this type of behavior happen on Cardano as well? And the short answer is yes, it could happen on Cardano, but if it did, it would be a major red flag for me, and it would make me completely avoid that dApp because it doesn't happen on Cardano, this doesn't happen on Solana. It happens on the dApps that are built on top of it. So it all depends on how the dApps actually build their contracts, what they put in there. Are they upgradable? does the developers have access to upgrade the contracts to give them access to user accounts, just like we see here? So look, we all have seen the discussions, or I suppose the clear facts on whether Solana is decentralized or not. We see it goes down fairly regularly at this stage, and because there are not many validators on the network, they're fairly easily able to hit that reset button, get everyone to do it in around the same time, and restart the network. But with Solend here, what they done was they put out a DAO vote during the week where they wanted to mitigate the risk from a whale. So there is a massive whale on the platform that has 5.7 million SOL deposited, which was around $170 million at the time they put this together. He or she has taken out a loan of 108 million USDC and USDT, and that's about 25% of TVL, 95% of SOL deposits, 88% of USDC borrowings. So they had a liquidation price of 22.30. So I've talked a bit about liquidation prices lately with everything that's going on in the market and different big liquidation points within the current market structure. So basically this means that if the price of Solana went to 22.30, this position here would be liquidated. So the protocol would start selling off, or dumping in some cases, the 5.7 million SOL to try and recoup the $108 million that this whale has borrowed out from the system. So they say they tried to contact them, but to me, there is no reason in a decentralized system where a protocol should ever be allowed to take over an individual's account. It's not part of the ethos there. It's not how a decentralized protocol should run. Once you set up a decentralized protocol, you have to let it play out itself. Whatever parameters you put in there, you have to let the system build and grow itself and see where it goes. You cannot come in and play God and come in and say, this person, this account here shouldn't do this, so I'm going to stop that. That's what a centralized system does. With a decentralized system, that's what we're getting away from. So you have to let it play out for the good and for the bad. Look, I see why they would potentially want to do this, but it just shouldn't happen in a system like this. So they did put out the vote, and as you can even see within the governance vote here, there's one massive account that voted on this, and they made up 1.01% of the vote. And the winning vote to say yes, we should take over this account was 1.16%. So basically one person in the platform decided yes, we should take over that person's account to try and save everyone else's asses, or to save Solana. And a big worry they had there was the Solana blockchain going down. So they said that yes, this would crash the Solana price, but it could also crash the blockchain because of so many orders going through and so much going on that they have seen in the past that things like this have crashed Solana. So they were trying to avoid it for that. But as I say, when you set up a decentralized system, you have to let it play out to the parameters that are set there. So after the backlash, huge backlash on social media especially, they decided to put up a second vote here to invalidate the first vote and increase the voting time. So they said they wanted to increase the voting time to 1 day, which is still crazy short, to give people notice, to let them vote and have their say. I don't know how long they gave for the first one. I didn't look it up, but even if it's obviously less than a day, which is way too short. So this one was to invalidate the last protocol, or the last proposal, work on a new proposal that does not invoke emergency powers to take over an account, which is the way it should be, and then increase voting time to 1 day. Once again, basically one account, two more bigger ones here than the first vote, but came in and decided to not put the vote through. You can see that 1.01% of the TVL again voted here, this time voted the other way to cancel out the first vote. So if you look at the price and where this triggered, you can see the price went down to just under $26 on Solana. So that's where the panic kind of set in. But can this actually happen on Cardano? And that's the question. And as I've said earlier, that this didn't happen specifically on Solana. This happened on a dApp built on Solana, and it could happen on Cardano. But it would be a major red flag for me if a dApp decided that yes, we'll have a vote to see should we take over this account. And when these types of votes happen, potentially, now I don't know the case here, potentially team members could have a big say in this, because team members are probably going to be users of the platform as well, or hold lots of the governance tokens. So they could come in and decide, yes, this is what we want, it's better for the platform. So they come in and sway the vote. We did see a situation on Cardano, so lots of people saying this wouldn't happen on Cardano. We've seen what happened with MinSwap on Cardano. So we see this type, now it's a different situation, but the idea that a protocol can access user funds. It shouldn't happen, but it did happen on Cardano with MinSwap, where wing riders found a bug in their smart contracts that allowed someone to come in and access all of the funds. So MinSwap then, what they actually done was use that bug to fix the contracts and move to a new version of the contracts where now people cannot access user funds. Only the users can access the funds in the new contract there. And that's the way it should be. And we shouldn't ever see votes like this or ways for anyone but the person who has deposited the liquidity or the collateral or whatever it is into DeFi. No one else should be able to access the funds, only them. It does kind of bring us back right around to security as well and custody of your own funds. The last video I put out was saying about taking your funds off centralized entities that offer interest rates for the next month or two. Just sacrifice the month or two interest to make sure your funds are safe. Similar things, once you put your funds into any liquidity position, into any yield farming or anything like that, you do give up custody, so you do get rewards, but there is also that added risk. So always weigh up the risk reward. Never put all of your funds into any one individual contract or protocol, even any individual asset, I would say. Diversify and always hold a decent amount of your funds in self-custody that you control. We can very easily do that with ADA because we can hold it on a hardware wallet, stake at the same time, and we are the only ones that have custody of the funds. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Share it out if you think others can get some benefit from it. Give it a like, comment, any questions or anything below. I'll talk to you soon.